Turkey is primarily situated in West Asia, but it also has a smaller section in Southeast Europe. It shares borders with the Black Sea, Iran, Iraq, Syria, and the Mediterranean Sea. As a country with a rich history, Turkey boasts numerous archaeological sites that are thousands of years old, such as Troy, Ephesus, Göbekli Tepe, and Mount Ararat. Turkey's culture combines elements from both Eastern and Western influences. This unique mix comes from its historical role as a connection point between the East and West. Since joining NATO in 1952, Turkey has maintained the second largest army in the alliance and is home to the Allied Land Command headquarters. The Marmara region is situated in European Turkey and home to the Marmara Sea, which is also on the European side and separates the Asian and European sides of Istanbul. While Turkey is in Asia and Europe, the Marmara region is entirely on the European continent. The Sea of Marmara is about 280 kilometers long and has a maximum width of 80 kilometers at its widest point, with a maximum depth of about 1,370 meters. It is categorized as an inland sea, which is defined as landlocked seas that are linked only to the oceans via narrow channels or straits. Yalcin grew up in Turkey, where he still lives today. He experienced an ordinary childhood, but at the age of 12, he had a significant encounter with 3 mysterious objects in the sky while fishing with his father. This event left a strong impression on him, creating a distinct feeling in both his body and mind that has remained with him ever since. After his childhood, he completed the mandatory 2 years of service in the Turkish military, which is required for all citizens. He dedicated several years of his life to living with and caring for his ailing mother. Those who know Yalcin describe him as a friendly and humble man. In 2007, Yalcin moved into his father's apartment in Kumburgaz, located 25 miles west of Istanbul. His father, a retired colonel, owned a building by the Marmara Sea that he rented out to tourists and beach visitors. Yalcin spent a lot of time there during the summer, from May to August, taking care of the property and often staying overnight. Soon, significant events occurred that altered his life forever. At first, he noticed something strange above the water late at night when everyone else was asleep. It looked odd, too low to be a plane or a star, and it moved in a strange way. He decided to buy a camcorder to gather more evidence in case it returned. This footage was recorded using a Canon GL1 Mini DV camcorder, a crucial detail as Mini DV technology captures authentic visuals directly onto physical tape within a cassette. This method ensures that the images are not subject to manipulation through CGI. In the 2007 video, some of the AM and PM time codes were backwards. This mistake is easy to explain as a simple human error and does not impact the overall validity of the recordings. Yalcin does not know English or the meanings of AM and PM because Turkish uses different words. This issue was only present briefly in 2007 and was quickly fixed with a friend's assistance. Starting on June 20, 2007 at 3:37 a.m., Yalcin took his first video of this object hovering over the water. On June 22nd, just 2 days later, a friend met him at the beach right in front of the building where he worked when this video was recorded. The object hovered still in the sky above the water, appearing to challenge the rules of gravity and physics. On July 30th, 2007, it marked the third out of 24 different dates that various objects were spotted and recorded. I had the chance to interview Yalcin back in 2013 using an interpreter to help us communicate. During our conversation, he shared the details of this incident that happened on July 30th, 2007. He was relaxing in his father's apartment when he started to hear ringing in his ears that he describes as a mechanical sound. It was a feeling he recognized from his first sighting of 3 UFOs at 12 years old. He took his camera and stepped outside. There he saw an unidentified object hovering silently above the neighboring village at approximately 4:50 a.m. The video captures the voices of other residents who also noticed its presence. Just 14 minutes later, it starts to move across the sky to the right, ultimately disappearing behind a chimney and vanishing from view. Yalcin kept a close eye from his spot by the sea, with repeated sightings occurring on August 1st. August 2nd, August 7th, August 10th, August 12th, and August 24th. In 2008, he went back to the same place to manage his father's tourist property by the Marmara coast during the summer. He closely observed the skies over the ocean after last year's events. It did not take long for them to reappear. It might be difficult to accept, and it's perfectly reasonable to be skeptical. However, all the facts suggest that it really took place. On May 23, 2008 at 4:53 a.m., he notices his first object beneath a bright moon. Upon closer inspection, it appears to be moving slowly to the left. It's difficult to determine whether it's a glowing object or a physical craft reflecting the moonlight. 4 days had passed, and on May 27, 2008, at 2:31 in the morning, the sky was clear and the moon was bright. While most people were sleeping, Yalcin and 2 friends chose to stay awake, wondering if the objects would return again. Initially, a small, shimmering object was detected in the distance, suspended motionlessly in the sky over the ocean. They zoomed in the camera to get a closer look, revealing more detail. Another sighting took place 2 days later on May 29th. This segment from June 6th is facing a different direction and shows a view from the side. The next images are individual frames captured from the segment on June 8th. There are many questions that could be raised at this stage, such as, who is piloting them? Why do they keep coming back at this location? And are they purposely trying to be seen for some unknown reason? By this time, the news had spread, capturing the attention of many as they realized something extraordinary was unfolding over the Marmara Sea. As curiosity grew, more individuals found themselves witnessing the phenomenon firsthand. Unexplainable aerial objects continued to be observed and filmed on June 9th, June 10th, and June 11th. One of the more interesting sightings occurred the very next day. A friend joined him again as they watched closely from the same area. After observing for several hours, they spotted something and began to take video. In this clip, taken from the June 12th footage, it seems to appear that the craft begins moving to the right. In the background, you can hear the voices of those who witnessed it, stunned by what they are seeing. The shifting of light and shadow across the surface are consistent with a metallic craft moving horizontally under light provided by the moon. The raw footage is much longer and sometimes quite shaky. I singled out this portion for the purpose of this video. You can find the full video linked in the show notes below. As the sightings continue to occur, and the amazing nature of these events is truly incredible, yet there still hasn't been a convincing explanation offered that can account for everything that has been seen. Reddish-orange spherical lights or pulsating orbs are often seen during UAP sightings, especially lately, and have been recorded frequently. Sometimes there is a logical reason for them, but other times they remain unexplained. These orange lights have been observed by nuclear missile bases, pilots, and many civilians. The occurrence of these orange balls of lights happened multiple times during this event. On the morning of June 16, 2008, just as the sun begins to rise, an unusual array of lights appeared that don't make sense. After conducting a thorough examination of the Marmara Sea, I can assert that this location is devoid of oil rigs, buoys, training zones, or any other man-made structures. The weather was bright and clear, and no fog to obscure the view. Interestingly, the identical thing showed up 16 days later, July 2nd. One hour and 22 minutes earlier that night, this was seen in about the same location. It hovered quietly over the water, showing no visible means of propulsion, indicating some kind of advanced technology. Sightings continued in 2008, with objects appearing on July 4th, and August 31st. At the close of 2008, sightings started to attract greater public interest. Stories broke in the Turkish news media as awareness among the population increased. On live television, top UFO researcher Haktan Akdogan had a heated debate with a group of skeptics from the government-run National Observatory. Haktan challenged the respected scientists to disprove the footage and gave them a mini DV cassette for analysis on live TV. Astronomers from the Science and Space Research Board of Turkey claimed, "We will study the images square by square and put an end to this once and for all." They began analyzing the cassettes in their image processing unit. After 2 weeks, they came to a conclusion and provided the media with a 2-page report. They concluded the following. The footage shows images of the object which visibly have a certain configuration and are not computer animations, special video effects, or studio recreated images or models. The footage is genuine. It was recently highlighted on History Channel's program, The Proof is Out There, where video specialists analyze and determine whether videos are genuine or fake. Michael Primo specializes in video forensics.
We always look to the metadata first, and this block-like pixelation, this is an indication that excessive amounts of compression were applied to these pixel areas, but I don't detect any evidence of this program interacting with something that would introduce CGI. There's no indication that they were trying to deceive or mislead.
The show ended by labeling it as unknown and was not able to debunk it. The following year, on May 13, 2009, this unidentified object was filmed over the sea at close range. If you look closely, 2 figures can possibly be seen standing towards the center. More will be discussed about this aspect of the case in Part 2. The situation and factors around the 2009 sightings gave us a better understanding of how real these events were. On May 14, 2009, a UFO conference took place in Istanbul. Notable speakers included Nick Pope, Eric von Daniken, and Dr. Roger Leir, among others. Inside the conference, Yalcin experienced a familiar feeling in his body and ears, signaling that a sighting might happen soon, as if an invisible force was prompting him to look up and capture the moment on film. He went outside to check the area, and soon a crowd gathered, attracted by the strange object in the sky.
Okay.
Hala görünüyor. Kapat elinde. Şu anda buzun içinde. Buzun arkasında güneş. Ama güneşe çok yakın.
During the conference, he started consulting with Dr. Roger Leir. Leir was a renowned podiatrist known for removing and examining suspected alien implants, and Yalcin believed he might have one in his foot, though it has never been examined or proven. Dr. Leir soon became aware of the surge of sightings occurring in Kumburgaz and was eager to join Yalcin and witness it firsthand. Roger Leir was on site during 2 instances, where he not only observed the UFOs in real time, but also saw them through the camera lens, adding more verification to the legitimacy of the footage. Photo and video evidence confirm that he was in fact present when the May 15th and May 17th sightings took place during 2009. He later appeared on Turkish television and did radio interviews with Kevin Smith, George Knapp, Art Bell, and Martin Willis.
On the internet, there is a video from 2008. Now, this video, some people say it's hoaxed, some people say it's the real deal. I don't know whether you know or not, whether it's the real deal or not, but it certainly is one of the best videos we've ever seen close up of what purports to be a UFO. Do you know anything about that one? It's supposed to be from Istanbul, Turkey.
If this is a video which is called a Kumburgaz video, which is a close-up of a craft, in fact so close that you can see the occupants, it is 100% real, and I was there as that was filmed.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to know.
Up on my website. Unfortunately, the one that's the depiction that's up there is not as clear as the other footage I have, and we're going to switch it soon. The one I have is the clearest footage of it. Also, I think the audience would like to know that footage was taken by the Cirrus UFO organization to a university in Istanbul, and their optical physicists went over that with a fine-tooth comb, and it was on all the major television broadcasts in Turkey that that was the real McCoy. There was no faking. There was no trickery of the camera. There was not an aberration. It was not a frisbee. It talked about the reflected light off of the craft, which was coming from the full moon, and that the areas where you see the occupants are some kind of a backlighting.
Okay, now you said you were there when this was filmed. How close did this thing get to you and whoever else was there observing it?
Not as close as you might see from the footage. We were on the beach and filming out over the water. And what we saw is something bright that was under the moon. So let's say the moon was the size of a dime. This would have been the size of a flashlight. And we were more interested at that point in the moon than the little bright light that was under it. But the camera that we were using had a 400 millimeter lens on it and an electronic doubler. So as we pushed on the craft, which means focused or on the craft, it got more clear and more clear and more clear. And when we centered on it, those are the shots that became famous.
Were you astounded when you saw the video?
Oh yeah, you can hear us the exclamations being made. It's up on YouTube. It's been up for some time, but you can hear the exclamations made both in Turkish and in English for those of us that were standing there, because we were looking at it on the monitor for the camera.
How many people were there?
Oh, at that point we must have had between 6 and 8 people.
Initially, I approached my investigation into this case with a healthy dose of skepticism, given my experience with numerous hoaxes in UFO research. For a considerable period, I was puzzled by the content of the videos. Could they be models, props, or possibly balloons? The video dated May 15, 2009, made me realize that something remarkable was happening, and the entire incident over 3 years was not a hoax or misidentification. On the morning of May 15, 2009, at 4:59 a.m., a video was recorded featuring an unusual object that appeared to be silver or shiny metallic, remaining stationary in the air above the Marmara Sea. Yalcin, along with several local witnesses and attendees from the conference, observed this phenomenon. Notably, a dog became agitated and began to bark. As the first light of dawn breaks and the sun ascends above the horizon, the clarity of the object significantly enhances. With the arrival of daylight, the object's form undergoes a remarkable change. I propose that this reddish-orange, semicircular array of lights is very likely the same entity seen just 21 minutes prior in the same spot, though it appears to have altered its configuration. Moreover, it could be that advanced physical principles affect visibility in distinct ways between night and day. Another theory is that a technology might have been activated. Is it possible that it is shifting interdimensionally? This hypothesis remains only a theory. The entire event unfolds over a brief 33 minutes, making it quite challenging to explain. Throughout this period, of night and day, The dog continues to bark at the same object, which provides evidence of its presence during both instances. 2 days later, on May 17, 2009, another unidentified object was seen and recorded on film under a bright moon. Like the earlier sightings, there were several witnesses. After 2009, the sightings eventually decreased. Yalcin started having trouble finding work and experienced financial difficulty, soon finding himself homeless. He later relocated to another part of Turkey, where he still resides today, continuing to observe the skies and capture video. The substantial number and authenticity of UFO sightings and recordings during this time are extensive. The original 1 hour and 45 minutes of footage is available on this channel. Possibly we can learn something by studying them